Take care, Lou.
You too, Meir.
Thank you.
8th of October, Rabbi First Gemora. Rabbi Levitt, Gemora. Hi, Rabbi. How are you?
Hashem, good. Okay, so we are ready to continue. We had Ravina. Oh, and now the Gemara asked on Ravina. Let's see what. Oh, then we had Rav Sama. A different way to explain, and then the Gemara asked my Binaihu, and we so what we we are we didn't finish this Rashi. Too bad. Okay, so let's take a look at this Rashi. The Rashi starts. It's sort of I don't know whether you have a different Dibra Maskell. You don't. Yesterday we did from Dibra Maskell Kadishli Isha Grusha. The Kohen says to Yisrael, "Be Mekadesh for me an Isha Grusha," which for the Kohen is a prohibition.
Oh, right. But for the shliach, it's not prohibited.
Right.
I see it. Umishas kiddushin over mishum lo yikhu. So and from the time of kiddushin, he violates because of the prohibition of acquiring this woman as a wife.
Yeah, Rashi's just quoting the words of the pasuk that the prohibition is contained.
Right. So in other words, he's clarifying that the Kohen is asking the shliach to do something that is forbidden for the Kohen.
Right. So basically, we got a setup of shliach l'dvar avera.
Right. But it's not an avera for the shliach. That's the chiddush, I think, in this case.
Well, it's not an avera for the shliach to be married to this woman, but if he's going to do his shlichus, he's making the his shlichus is causing the one who's sending him to be over on an avera.
Right. And, but you can't. Can you say that he is over?
Well, he's not marrying her, but in giving the Kohen in making the Kohen married to her, he's causing the Kohen to transgress. So that itself is a violation, probably of not putting a stumbling block in front of a blind person.
All right. So what's the finish of this case then?
So what the Gemora is trying to do over here is show a case where there'll be according to Ula, it'll come out one way, and according to Reb Sama, it'll come out a different way. If we analyze what was the reason that Ula said that when it comes to shlichus, we don't there's no problem of ein shlichus l'dvar avera when it comes to a chatzer. Only someone who's a bar chiyuva is commanded in listening to Hashem and not doing the avera that the sender is sending him to do. But in this case, it would seem that according to Ula, then I mean, it's a bit complicated. He's not commanded not to marry a Gerusha, but he's commanded not to cause a Kohen to not marry a Gerusha. It would seem to me that that this would qualify as a case where Ula would say that the I don't know how to analyze it. It's a bit complicated. What did the Gemora say about this case? My benayu ikbenayu Kohen de Amar Leili Yisrael say v'kadosh li isha grusha, and then it brought another case. So lahach lishna, the Gemora says, according to this lashon, kol heika de iboy ovid iboy lo ovid lo machayev sholcho. Okay, that the Gemara starts with the other lashon. Let's start with the lashon of Ula that we just got through talking about. Lahach lishna de amart kol hecha de shliach lav bar chiyuva machayev sholcho. According to Ula, he says that wherever the shliach is not a bar chiyuva in this matter, like he's like a chotzer who's not chayav for geneva, machayev sholcho. So we will say that the shlichus will work, and that the ganav who organized the animal to be stolen by means of using the chotzer will be chayav for the geneva. So over here too, we'll say that hakanami kevan de lav bar chiyuva ninhu machayev sholchan. Since the Yisrael, he's not commanded in this Isser, and we're talking about the Isser of marrying a Grusha. So we won't say the klal of Ein Shlech L'Dvar Aveira to undo the Shlichus, and we'll say that the Shlichus will work, and what will happen will be that the Kohen will be married, and he will be the one who's be chayav for the Aveira of marrying a Grusha.
I thought you just said the opposite.
Yeah, because I had a question, because he's a bar chiyuv in regard to causing the Kohen to be nikshol.
Right. Oh, if he's a bar chiyuva, then why don't we say that he's liable? He suffers the penalty, not the Kohen.
See, the way that the Gemora is analyzing it, the main avera involved over here is the avera of marrying the grusha. That's what the shlichus is about.
Right.
So since the Yisrael himself is not he's not a bar chiyuva in regard to that avera. He doesn't have any connection to that avera itself. That's, in other words, that's the avera that the Kohen is sending him on, but for him it's not an avera. So that's the way the Gemara is saying that we're going to give we're going to label the Yisrael as someone who's not a bar chiyuva in regard to this case. He's going to be like a chotzer.
But I'm confused. It says, but my English says, according to that version, which says that whenever the agent can exercise a choice.
That's the other non-domer. We didn't. I bypassed that.
Oh.
So we yeah.
You
read after that. Read after that and see what it says.
Okay, according to that version, in which you say that whatever the agent is not a responsible party, the sender is liable. Then right. In cases of these people, the ordinary Jew or the woman as well, since the agents are not responsible parties, the sender is liable. Okay, right. So there's a machlokus. Both views are expressed.
So right. So here that's what the Gemara's original question was. My benayu. What's the practical difference between Ula and Reb Sama? So we just explained what Ula would say about this case. Now let's go back to what Reb Sama would say in this case. That's the first opinion that the Gemara mentions over here.
I see. Okay, so that's the one that I read before, where it says if he can exercise his choice, then he is liable. The shliach is liable.
Right. According to Rav Sama, it doesn't depend on whether the agent is going to do an avera or not do an avera, whether he's commanded not to marry this woman. What does it depend on? It depends on if he's not a chotzer. A chotzer doesn't have any ability to choose to do the agency or not. It does it bal korcho. But a person, he has the ability to say, no, I don't want to do that.
Right.
So that's the way Rav Sama categorizes how this principle of ein shliach l'dvar avera will work. Ein shliach l'dvar avera says the shlichus will not work in the case of the doing of an avera. So over here, there is an avera that's being done. If the shlichus works, the Kohen will be transgressing. But according to Rav Sama, since the agent, he could if he wants to do the agency, he could. If he wants to refuse it, he also could. And so therefore, what? Since he could refuse it, the Gemora says, the
sender is not liable.
Lo mechayev sholcho. Meaning to say that the principle of ein shliach l'dvar avera will attach, and the shlichus will not work. That's the outcome of ein shliach l'dvar avera. There's no shlichus for the doing of an avera. So as long as when do we Rav Sama says, when do we say ein shliach l'dvar avera, that the shlichus will not work? When do we say that?
When,
When the agent has a choice. He can choose whether to do it or not. So
right.
here, since he can choose whether to do it or not, so then the principle of ein shliach l'dvar aver applies, and that means that the shlichus will not work. And so what does that mean? The shlichus will not work. The kedushin will not go through.
No,
The kedushin won't go through, and the Kohen won't be in violation.
no, I don't think so, Rabbi. I'm confused. I thought you were going to say that the Kohen is engaged, and the Kohen is the one that is liable. I mean, the Kohen is married, and he is liable. He gets punished, not the shliach.
That's when you would say that's when you would say that the shlichus works. If the shlichus works, then that means that the Kohen, that the agent did effectively be an agent for the Kohen to marry this woman. But that'll go according to the second opinion that we learned it first, according to Ula. But let's focus on this again. Look at the words of the Gemora.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let's say this is the actual case. The Kohen says to Yisachar, who is a non-Kohen,
right,
go and marry this woman on my behalf. And the woman happens to be a divorcee.
Right.
So Yisachar goes to the woman and says, Joe Kohen need to marry you for him on his behalf. She says, wonderful. So he says, Joe Kohen gave me this ring. They get a rabbi. They go under the chuppah. They have the whole ceremony. He puts the ring on her finger. He says, hey, Hariat Mekudeshes to him. And everybody says Mazel Tov.
Right.
Now, you're saying the shlichus didn't work. Does that mean that they're not married?
Yeah.
But they just performed the ceremony. How can you say they're not married?
The ceremony didn't work.
See, I want to say the ceremony worked, but what we're discussing now is who is liable. You're saying no, the ceremony didn't work at all. So there's nobody's liable.
Well, the only one that would be liable over here is the Kohen.
Right, but he can't be liable if you say the ceremony didn't work because he didn't marry her.
Right.
So nobody's liable.
Right. Take a look at the Lashon of the Gemora. The Gemora says, in this case, Lahach Lishna, according to this Lashon, the Amar that says, Kol Hecha de Iboy Ovid, Iboy Lo Ovid, that the klal of ein shliach l'dvar avera, that is in a case where the shliach has free choice to do the shlichus or decline. So, according to that view, lo machayav sholcho, the sender will not be liable.
Okay, let's take the case of theft. Joe Kohen says to Yisachar, go and steal this cow for me. So Yisachar goes and steals the cow and gives it to Joe. Now, the shlichos doesn't work because it's an avera.
Right.
But the cow is stolen. And somebody is liable.
Who's liable?
So I would say Joe Cohen is liable.
The one that stole it is liable in that case.
Oh, right. Okay. So Yisachar is liable.
Right. In that case, there's no disagreement that the agent is going to be liable and the sender is not going to be liable, because in that case, both of them are bar chiyuva on the matter, and they both and the agent has the right to decline and say he doesn't want to do it. So in that case, in other words, both the reasoning of Ula and the reasoning of Reb Sama would dictate that we've got a result of ein shliach ledvar avera. There's no shlichus. Their reasons will apply in that case. Both of the reasons will apply. But in the case of Joe Cohen and Yisachar, only according to Ula will we say that the agency will go through.
Wait, I'm trying to phrase a question here. Forget about the case of the divorcee. Let's just focus on the case of the theft.
Yeah.
You say there's no shlichus in this case.
Right.
So therefore, how can you say that the shliach is liable when there's no shlichus?
When we say that there's no shlichus, what that mean? What would, if, let's look at it like this: if there was shlichus, who would be liable?
The sender,
right? And when we say there's no shlichus, who's going to be liable?
The shliach.
Yeah.
So I'm saying there is shlichus. The shlichus worked. It's the liability that we're saying it is or is not applicable. The shlichus worked because the cow is now in the possession of the sender.
No, shlichus means that what the shliach does is imputed to the mishaleach.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But we said in the case of the divorcee that they're not married. But now we're saying, no, they are married, but the liability is imputed to. You see the question I'm asking?
I don't see the question.
Okay, so we said that if Yisachar goes ahead and performs the ceremony and marries the woman on behalf of Joe,
yeah,
that it didn't work. The marriage didn't work.
According to one of these two opinions, it doesn't work.
Right. So according to that opinion, it says it doesn't work. I have a difficulty because the marriage happened. So I gave you an example where you can't say that the theft didn't happen. I gave you an example of a theft because even though we say that he's not a shliach, nevertheless, the theft happened and one of them is liable. And all we're discussing is not whether the shliach was a shliach. We're discussing who was liable. So in the case of the divorcee also, I think we have to discuss who's liable, not say that that the marriage didn't work.
Okay, so I think I see what you're getting at over here. What you're getting at is the following. When it comes to Geneva, the the shliach doesn't go up to the animal and say, "I'm stealing you on behalf of the mishaleach."
Right.
So that so now my stealing is going to be imputed to you to the mishaleach. It's just an act of thievery. But since he was sent by the sender, we call it a shlichus. But in the case of the kedushin, what I'm wondering about is the following thing. This is really a matter of hilchus kedushin. In order for the non-Cohen shliach to marry marry this woman for the Cohen, when he said, what does he got to say? Does he just say, what does he say? Harei at mikudeshes li? No, that's not what he says. He doesn't say you're mikudeshes to me.
Right. He says, Harei at mikudeshes Joe.
You're mukadeshes to Ploni.
Right.
And since I am a duly appointed shliach of Ploni, so if there's going to be shlichus, then Ploni will be married. If there's no shlichus, Ploni will not be married. But one thing is sure is whether the shlichus works or not, the shliach himself is not going to be married to her.
Right, but the question is, who is going to be punished? The shliach or the sender?
Well, the shliach, he doesn't have any avera to marry her in any case. It's not his avera. That's why we're picking this case. The Gemora is picking this case where for the shliach it's not an avera. But for the sender, it's an avera to marry this woman.
Right.
So now we've got a setup where we're going to see a nafkamina between the two opinions. If you say that, what does it mean, shliach ledvar avera? What does it mean? It means that it means that when the shliach is equally commanded not to do this avera as the sender is, so then we say, oh, right, ein shlich ledvar avera. There's no shlichus. The shlichus doesn't work. But in this case, it's not an avera for the shliach to marry this woman. So he's not a bar chiyuva over here. So according to the opinion that says that ein shliach ledvar avera only applies when you got a shliach who is a bar chiyuva, so the whole principle of ein shliach ledvar avera doesn't apply in this case. And therefore, what will happen? What will happen will be, if you don't say ein shliach ledvar avera, so you're going to say yes shlichus. There is shlichus, and therefore, according to that opinion, the Kohen will be chayav for making kedushin with this woman. But that's only according to that opinion. According to the other opinion says, what is it that where do we say ein shliach ledvar avera? We say ein shliach ledvar avera when we've got a shliach who has the ability to refuse to do the shlichus. He can choose. Does he want to do this shlichus or does he not want to do the shlichus? Meaning to say, he's a person and he's not a courtyard. If he's a person, so then we'll say that the principle of ein shliach ledvar avera will apply. What does that mean? That means that his agency is ineffective. Ein shliach ledvar avera means his agency is ineffective. What will happen in the case where his agency is ineffective? He doesn't have any ability to get the sender married to this woman. because he doesn't have any shlichus. He's not he doesn't have any power of shlichus. He can't act as a shliach. Why? Ein shlich l'dvar aveira. And so therefore, true, you've got the violin playing, and you got the rabbi over there. I guess he doesn't know too much, the rabbi. Maybe he's a reform rabbi. But anyway, and you got everybody standing over there, and everybody says amen, but nothing happened. Nothing happened. There's no kedushin because ein shlich l'dvar aveira. Right? The Kohen is not making the kedushin himself. The agent is, and so for the agent to make kedushin on behalf of the Kohen, he needs to be an agent who has the ability of agency. He has the power of agency. But here, this is a case of ein shlich d'var aveira, according to the first opinion. So therefore, he doesn't have the power of being an agent. And since he doesn't have the power of being the agent, he doesn't have the power to effectuate a kedushin between the Kohen and this woman, this divorced woman. Doesn't work.
So when he says, "Hooray, at Mikudeshet Joe," you're saying that statement does not work.
Right. Because in order for it to work, he has to be an agent whose agency is going to be have an effect. And here, since there's an avera involved for Joe to be married to her, we say ein shlich l'dvar avera. Why? Because according to this opinion subscribes to the view that when is it that we say ein shlich d'var avera? When the shliach has the ability to refuse the shlichus. If he wants, he could say, "I'll do it," and if he wants, he could say, "I won't do it." So in this case, this qualifies. He's a person. He's not a courtyard. So he has the ability to refuse it. So since it's a case like that, so we say that's where the principle of ein shlich d'var avera applies. And so therefore, since the sender would be doing an avera if this shlichus worked and went through and was effective, so we say ein shlich d'var avera the shlichus doesn't go through. It's not effective. Because ein shlich d'var avera. If you analyze that principle applies in the case when you have a shliach who can refuse the shlichus. So that's why the Gemora says, according to that opinion, lo machayev sholcho. The sender will not be chayev for the prohibition of a Kohen marrying a divorced woman.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. It's difficult, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Okay. So now Oh, and we had the other case. The other case that the Gemora said was Inami ish da'amar la leisha. A man who says to a woman, Akpi li katan. Remove the payas of this child. So over here you have another situation. This is a similar situation to the case with the Cohen marrying the divorcee. What's the similarity? Because the Torah doesn't make the woman liable for hakafas payas harosh. She doesn't have a prohibition of hakafas payas harosh. So just like the Israel, he doesn't have any prohibition not to marry a grusha. So to the woman here, who's the shliach, she doesn't have the prohibition of hakafas harosh, of removing the payas of this child. So that's the similarity between these two cases. So it'll work the same way as it did in the case of the kiddushin. According to one opinion, the sender that told the woman to do this, as his agent, he'll be liable, and according to the other opinion, he won't be liable. Who will be liable? Nobody will be liable, because the woman's not liable for doing it. If there's agency, so then the sender will be liable. So it'll depend on whether you say Ein Shlech L'Dvar Aveira. Because Ein Shlech L'Dvar Aveira means that in the case of an Aveira, we say that the shlichus is ineffective. So I think what was difficult for you to understand is we see the fallout is a different fallout in these two cases than it is in an ordinary case. In an ordinary case of Ein Shlech L'Dvar Aveira, since both the shliach and the mishaleach are commanded not to do gezel, so then and the nature of the thing is that the shliach is actually doing the gezel, so he's gonna be the one that's going to be liable, according to both opinions.
Right.
Here, this is actually. Oh, Alan just came in.
Time.
Oh, time is up. Okay, Alan. Okay.
Not bad. Have a good day.
Okay.